Welcome to episode 2 of This Is Not a Bible Study. Today's topic is the story of Abraham and Isaac. The history of Isaac. Thare begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran fathered Lot. And Haran died before Thare his father in the land of his birth in Ur of the Chaldeans. And Abram and Nahor married wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife Milcah, the daughter of Haran, father of Milcah, and father of Jeshka. And Sarai was barren and had no children. And the Lord said to Abram, Go forth out of your country and from your kindred and out of your father's house, and come into the land which I shall show you. And I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you and magnify your name, and you shall be blessed. And I will bless them that bless you, and curse them that curse you. And in you shall all the kindred of the earth be blessed. So Abram went out as the Lord had commanded him, and Lot went with him. Abram was 75 years old when he went forth from Haran. And he took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all the substance which they had gathered, and the souls which they had gotten in Haran. And they went out into the land of Canaan. And when they were come into it, Abram passed through the country into the place of Shechem, as far as the noble vale. Now the Canaanite was at that time in the land. And the Lord appeared to Abram and said to him, To your seed will I give this land. And he built there an altar to the Lord who had appeared to him. And passing on from there to a mountain that was on the east side of Bethel, he there pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. He built there also an altar to the Lord, and called upon his name. And Abram went forward, going and proceeding on to the south. There came a famine into the country, and Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was very grievous in the land. And when he was near to enter into Egypt, he said to Sarai his wife, I know that you are a beautiful woman, and that when the Egyptians shall see you, they will say, She is his wife, and they will kill me and keep you. Say therefore, I pray you, that you are my sister, that I may be well used for you, and that my soul may live for your sake. And when Abram was come into Egypt, the Egyptians saw the woman, that she was very beautiful. And the princes told Pharaoh, and praised her before him. And the woman was taken into the house of Pharaoh. And they used Abram well for her sake. And he had sheep and oxen, and he-asses, and men-servants and maid-servants, and she-asses and camels. But the Lord scourged Pharaoh and his house with most grievous stripes for Sarai, Abram's wife. And Pharaoh called Abram and said to him, What is this that you have done to me? Why did you not tell me that she was your wife? For what cause did you say she was your sister, that I might take her to my wife? Now, therefore, there is your wife. Take her and go your way. And Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had, and Lot with him, into the south. And he was very rich in possession of gold and silver. And he returned by the way that he came, from the south to Bethel, to the place where before he had pitched his tent, between Bethel and Ai. in the place of the altar which he had made before, and there he called upon the name of the Lord. But Lot, who was with Abram, had flocks of sheep and herds of beasts and tents. Neither was the land able to bear them, that they might dwell together, for their substance was great, and they could not dwell together. Whereupon also there arose a strife between the herdsmen of Abram and of Lot. And at that time the Canaanite and the Perizzite lived in that country. Abram therefore said to Lot, Let there be no quarrel, I beseech you, between me and you, and between my herdsmen and your herdsmen, for we are brethren. Behold, the whole land is before you. Depart from me, I pray you. If you will go to the left hand, I will take the right. If you choose the right hand, I will pass to the left. And Lot, lifting up his eyes, saw all the country about the Jordan, which was watered throughout, before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, as the paradise of the Lord, and like Egypt as one comes to Zoar. And Lot chose to himself the country about the Jordan, and he departed from the east, and they were separated one brother from the other. Abram dwelt in the land of Canaan, and Lot abode in the towns that were about the Jordan, and dwelt in Sodom. And the men of Sodom were very wicked, and sinners before the face of the Lord, beyond measure. And the Lord said to Abram, after Lot was separated from him, Lift up your eyes, and look from the place wherein you are now, to the north and to the south, to the east and to the west. All the land which you see I will give to you and to your seed forever. And I will make your seed as the dust of the earth. If any man be able to number the dust of the earth, he shall be able to number your seed also. And the king of Sodom, and the king of Gomorrah, and the king of Admah, and the king of Zeboim, and the king of Bala, which is Zoar, went out, and they set themselves against them in battle array in the woodland vale, namely, against Kohodolamohomor, king of the Elamites, and Thadal, king of the nations, and Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Pontus, 4 kings against 5. Now the woodland vale had many pits of slime, and the king of Sodom and the king of Gomorrah turned their backs and were overthrown there, and they that remained fled to the mountain. And they took all the substance of the Sodomites and Gomorrites and their victuals and went their way. And Lot also, the son of Abram's brother, who dwelt in Sodom, and his substance. And behold, one that had escaped told Abram the Hebrew, who dwelled in the vale of Mamre, the Amorite, the brother of Eshcol, and the brother of Aner. For these had made league with Abram. Which, when Abram had heard, namely that his brother Lot was taken, he numbered of the servants born in his house 318 well appointed, and pursued them to Dan. And dividing his company, he rushed upon them in the night, and defeated them, and pursued them as far as Hobah, which is on the left hand of Damascus. And he brought back all the substance, and Lot his brother with his substance, the women also, and the people. And the king of Sodom went out to meet him, after he returned from the slaughter of Chodorlahamor, and of the kings that were with him in the vale of Save, which is the king's vale. But Melchizedek, king of Salem, bringing forth bread and wine, for he was the priest of the Most High God, blessed him, and said, Blessed be Abram by the Most High God, who created heaven and earth. And blessed be the Most High God, by whose protection the enemies are in your hands. And he gave him the tithes of all. Now when these things were done, the word of the Lord came to Abram by a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am your protector, and your reward exceeding great. And Abram said, Lord God, what will you give me? I shall go without children, and the son of the steward of my house is this Damascus Eliezer. And Abram added, But to me you have not given seed, and lo, my servant born in my house shall be my heir. And immediately the word of the Lord came to him, saying, He shall not be your heir, but he that shall come out of your bowels, him shall you have for your heir. And he brought him forth abroad, and said to him, Look up to heaven, and number the stars, if you can. And he said to him, So shall your seed be. Abram believed God, and it was reputed to him unto justice. And he said to him, I am the Lord, who brought you out of Ur of the Chaldeans, to give you this land that you might possess it. But he said, Lord God, whereby may I know that I shall possess it? And the Lord answered and said, Take me a cow of 3 years old, and a she-goat of 3 years, and a ram of 3 years, a turtle-dove also, and a pigeon. And he took all these, and divided them in the middle, and laid the 2 pieces of each one against the other. But the birds he did not divide. And the fowls came down upon the carcasses, and Abram drove them away. And when the sun was setting, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and a great and darksome horror seized upon him. And it was said to him, Know beforehand that your seed shall be a stranger in a land not their own, and they shall bring them under bondage and afflict them 400 years. But I will judge the nation which they shall serve, and after this they shall come out with great substance. And you shall go to your fathers in peace, and be buried in a good old age. And after he began to be 99 years old, the Lord appeared to him, and said to him, I am the Almighty God. Walk before me, and be perfect. And I will make my covenant between me and you, and I will multiply you exceedingly. Abram fell flat on his face. And God said to him, I am, and my covenant is with you. And you shall be a father of many nations. Neither shall your name be called any more Abram, but you shall be called Abraham, because I have made you a father of many nations. And I will make you increase exceedingly, and I will make nations of you, and kings shall come out of you. And I will establish my covenant between me and you, and between your seed after you in their generations, by a perpetual covenant, to be a God to you and to your seed after you. And I will give to you and to your seed the land of your sojournment, all the land of Canaan, for a perpetual possession, and I will be their God. Again God said to Abraham, And you therefore shall keep my covenant, and your seed after you in their generations. This is my covenant which you shall observe between me and you, and your seed after you. All the male kind of you shall be circumcised, and you shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, that it may be for a sign of the covenant between me and you. And when he had left off speaking with him, God went up from Abraham. Abraham was 99 years old when he circumcised the flesh of his foreskin, and Ishmael his son was full 13 years old at the time of his circumcision. The same day was Abraham circumcised, and Ishmael his son. And all the men of his house, as well as those that were born in his house, as the bought servants and strangers, were circumcised with him. And the Lord appeared to him in the vale of Mamre, as he was sitting at the door of his tent. in the very heat of the day. And when he had lifted up his eyes, there appeared to him 3 men standing near to him. And as soon as he saw them, he ran to meet them from the door of his tent, and adored down to the ground. And he said, Lord, if I have found favor in your sight, pass not away from your servant, but I will fetch a little water and wash your feet, and rest you under the tree. And I will set a morsel of bread and strengthen your heart. Afterwards you shall pass on, for therefore are you come aside to your servant. And they said, Do as you have spoken. Abraham made haste into the tent of Sarah, and said to her, Make haste, temper together 3 measures of flour, and make cakes upon the hearth. And he himself ran to the herd, and took from there a calf, very tender and very good, and gave it to a young man, who made haste and boiled it. He also took butter and milk, and the calf which he had boiled, and set it before them. But he stood by them under the tree. And when they had eaten, they said to him, Where is Sarah your wife? He answered, Lo, she is in the tent. And he said to him, I will return and come to you at this time, life accompanying, and Sarah your wife shall have a son. Which when Sarah heard, she laughed behind the door of the tent. Now they were both old, and far advanced in years, and had ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of women. And she laughed secretly, saying, After I am grown old, and my Lord is an old man, shall I give myself to pleasure? And the Lord said to Abraham, Why did Sarah laugh, saying, Shall I, who am an old woman, bear a child indeed? Is there anything hard to God? According to appointment, I will return to you at this same time, life accompanying, and Sarah shall have a son. Sarah denied, saying, I did not laugh, for she was afraid. But the Lord said, No, but you did laugh. And when the men rose up from there, they turned their eyes toward Sodom. And Abraham walked with them, bringing. And the Lord said, Can I hide from Abraham what I am about to do? Seeing he shall become a great and mighty nation, and in him all the nations of the earth shall be blessed. For I know that he will command his children and the household after him to keep the way of the Lord, and do judgment and justice, that for Abraham's sake the Lord may bring to effect all the things he has spoken to him. And the Lord said, The cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is multiplied, and their sin is become exceedingly grievous. I will go down and see whether they have done according to the cry that has come to me, or whether it not be so, that I may know. And they turned themselves from there, and went their way to Sodom. But Abraham as yet stood before the Lord. And drawing nigh, he said, Will you destroy the just with the wicked? If there be 50 just men in the city, shall they perish? And will you not spare that place for the sake of the 50 just, if they be therein? Far be it from you to do this thing, and to slay the just with the wicked. For the just to be in like case as the wicked, this is not beseeming you. You who judge all the earth will not make this judgment. And the Lord said to him, If I find in Sodom 50 just within the city, I will spare the whole place for their sake. And Abraham answered and said, Seeing I have once begun, I will speak to my Lord, whereas I am dust and ashes. What if there be 45 just persons? Will you, for 45, destroy the whole city? And he said, I will not destroy it if I find 45. And again he said to him, But if 40 be found there, what will you do? He said, I will not destroy it for the sake of 40. Lord, he says, Do not be angry, I beseech you, if I speak. What if 30 shall be found there? He answered, I will not do it, if I find 30 there. Seeing, he says, as I have once begun, I will speak to my Lord. What if 20 be found there? He said, I will not destroy it for the sake of 20. I beseech you, he says, do not be angry, Lord, if I speak yet once more. What if 10 should be found there? And he said, I will not destroy it for the sake of 10. And the Lord departed after he had left speaking to Abraham, and Abraham returned to his place. And the two angels came to Sodom in the evening, and Lot was sitting in the gate of the city. And seeing them, he rose up and went to meet them, and worshipped prostrate to the ground, and said, I beseech you, my lords, turn in to the house of your servant and lodge there. Wash your feet, and in the morning you shall go on your way. And they said, No, but we will stay in the street. He pressed them very much to turn in unto him, and when they were come in to his house, he made them a feast, and baked unleavened bread, and they ate. But before they went to bed, the men of the city beset the house, both young and old, all the people together. And they called Lot, and said to him, Where are the men that came in to you at night? Bring them out here, that we may know them. Lot went out to them, and shut the door after him, and said, Do not do so, I beseech you, my brethren, do not commit this evil. I have 2 daughters who as yet have not known man. I will bring them out to you, and you abuse them as it shall please you, just so that you do no evil to these men, because they are come in under the shadow of my roof. But they said, Get back there. And again, you came in, they said, as a stranger. Was it to be a judge? Therefore we will afflict you more than them. And they pressed very violently upon Lot, and they were even at the point of breaking open the doors. And behold, the men put out their hand, and drew in Lot unto them, and shut the door. And those that were outside they struck with blindness, from the least to the greatest, so that they could not find the door. And they said to Lot, Do you have here any of yours, son-in-law, or sons, or daughters? All that are yours, bring them out of this city, for we will destroy this place, because their cry is grown loud before the Lord, who has sent us to destroy them. So Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-law that were to have his daughters, and said, Arise, get out of this place, because the Lord will destroy this city. And he seemed to them to speak as it were in jest. And when it was morning, the angels pressed him, saying, Arise, take your wife and the 2 daughters which you have, lest you also perish in the wickedness of this city. And as he lingered, they took his hand and the hand of his wife and of his 2 daughters, because the Lord spared him. And they brought him out and set him outside the city. And there they spoke to him, saying, Save your life, do not look back, neither stay in all the country round about, but save yourself in the mountain, lest you also be consumed. And Lot said to them, I beseech you, my lord, because your servant has found grace before you, and you have magnified your mercy, which you have shown to me in saving my life, and I cannot escape to the mountain, lest some evil seize me and I die. There is a city here at hand, to which I may flee. It is a little one, and I shall be saved in it. Is it not a little one, and my soul shall live? And he said to him, Behold, also in this I have heard your prayers, not to destroy the city for which you have spoken. Make haste and be saved there, because I cannot do anything until you go in. Therefore the name of that city was called Zoar. The sun was risen upon the earth, and Lot entered into Zoar. The Lord rained upon Sodom and Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven. And he destroyed these cities and all the country about, all the inhabitants of the cities, and all things that spring from the earth. And his wife, looking behind her, was turned into a statue of salt. And Abraham got up early in the morning, and in the place where he had stood before with the Lord, he looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah, and the whole land of that country, and he saw the ashes rise up from the earth as the smoke of a furnace. Now when God destroyed the cities of that country, remembering Abraham, he delivered Lot out of the destruction of the cities wherein he had dwelt. And the Lord visited Sarah as he had promised, and fulfilled what he had spoken, and she conceived and bore a son in her old age, at the time that God had foretold her. And Abraham called the name of his son, whom Sarah bore him, Isaac. And he circumcised him the 8th day, as God had commanded him, when he was 100 years old, for at this age of his father was Isaac born. And Sarah said, God has made a laughter for me. Whosoever shall hear of it will laugh with me. And again she said, who would believe that Abraham should hear that Sarah gave suck to a son, whom she bore to him in his old age? And the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham made a great feast on the day of his weaning. And when Sarah had seen the son of Hagar the Egyptian playing with Isaac her son, she said to Abraham, cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of the bondwoman shall not be heir with my son Isaac. Abraham took this grievously for his son. And God said to him, let it not seem grievous to you for the boy, for your bondwoman. In all that Sarah has said to you, hearken to her voice, for in Isaac shall your seed be called. But I will make the son also the bondwoman a great nation, because he is your seed. Thing to take note of here, remember that Ishmael was 13 years old when he and his father were circumcised, which was a little more than a year before the birth of Isaac, and now Isaac's being weaned, so he's probably 3 or 4. So Ishmael's 17, 18 years old here, despite your typical depiction of Hagar bearing her son on her back out into the desert. After these things, God tempted Abraham and said to him, Abraham, Abraham. And he answered, here I am. He said to him, take your only begotten son Isaac, whom you love, and go into the land of Vision, and there you shall offer him for a holocaust upon one of the mountains which I shall show you. So Abraham, rising up in the night, saddled his ass, and took with him 2 young men, and Isaac his son. And when he had cut wood for the holocaust, he went his way to the place which God had commanded him. And on the 3rd day, lifting up his eyes, he saw the place afar off. And he said to his young men, stay here with the ass. I and the boy will go with speed as far as yonder, and after we have worshipped, will return to you. And he took the wood for the holocaust, and laid it upon Isaac his son. And he himself carried in his hands fire and a sword. And as the 2 went on together, Isaac said to his father, my father? And he answered, what do you want, my son? Behold, he says, fire and wood. Where is the victim for the holocaust? And Abraham said, God will provide himself a victim for a holocaust, my son. So they went on together. And they came to the place which God had shown him, where he built an altar and laid the wood in order upon it. And when he had bound Isaac his son, he laid him on the altar upon the pile of wood. And he put forth his hand and took the sword to sacrifice his son. And behold, an angel of the Lord from heaven called to him, saying, Abraham, Abraham. And he answered, Here I am. And he said to him, Lay not your hand upon the boy, neither do anything to him. Now I know that you fear God, and have not spared your only begotten son for my sake. Abraham lifted up his eyes, and saw behind his back a ram among the briars, sticking fast by its horns, which he took and offered for a holocaust instead of his son. And he called the name of that place, The Lord Sees, whereupon even to this day it is said, In the mountain the Lord will see. And the angel of the Lord called to Abraham a second time from heaven, saying, By my own self have I sworn, says the Lord, because you have done this thing, and have not spared your only begotten son for my sake, I will bless you, and I will multiply your seed as the stars of heaven, and as the sand that is by the seashore. Your seed shall possess the gates of their enemies, and in your seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because you have obeyed my voice. And Sarah lived 127 years, and she died in the city of Arbe, which is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And Abraham came to mourn and weep for her. And after he rose up from the funeral obsequies, he spoke to the children of Het, saying, I am a stranger and sojourner among you. Give me the right of a burying place with you, that I may bury my dead. The children of Het answered, saying, My lord, hear us. You are a prince of God among us. Bury your dead in our principal sepulchres, and no man shall have power to hinder you from burying your dead in his sepulchre. Abraham rose up and bowed down to the people of the land, namely the children of Het, and said to them, If it please your soul that I should bury my dead, hear me, and intercede for me to Ephron, the son of Zahor, that he may give me the double cave which he has in the end of his field. For as much money as it is worth, he shall give it me before you for a possession of a burying place. And the field that was before Ephron's, wherein was the double cave, looking towards Mamre, both it and the cave and all the trees thereof, and all its limits round about, was made sure to Abraham for a possession in the sight of the children of Heth, and of all that went in at the gate of his city. And so Abraham buried Sarah his wife in the double cave of the field that looked towards Mamre. This is Hebron in the land of Canaan. And the field was made sure to Abraham, and the cave that was in it, for a possession to bury in by the children of Heth. Now Abraham was old and advanced in age, and the Lord had blessed him in all things. And he said to the elder servant of his house, who was ruler over all he had, Put your hand under my thigh, that I may make you swear by the Lord, the God of heaven and earth, that you take not a wife for my son of the daughters of the Canaanites among whom I dwell, but that you go to my own country and kindred, and take a wife from there for my son Isaac. The servant therefore put his hand under the thigh of Abraham his lord, and swore to him upon his word. And he took 10 camels of his master's herd, and departed, carrying something of all his goods with him. And he set forward and went on to Mesopotamia, to the city of Nahor. And when he had made the camels lie down outside the town, near a well of water in the evening, at the time when women are wont to come out to draw water, he said, Lord, the God of my master Abraham, meet me today, I beseech you, and show kindness to my master Abraham. He had not yet ended these words within himself, and behold, Rebekah came out, the daughter of Bethuel, son of Milcah, wife to Nahor the brother of Abraham, having a pitcher on her shoulder. An exceeding comely maid, and a most beautiful virgin, and not known to man. And she went down to the spring, and filled her pitcher, and was coming back. And the servant ran to meet her, and said, "Give me a little water to drink of your pitcher." And she answered, "Drink, my lord." And quickly she let down the pitcher upon her arm and gave him drink. And when he had drunk, she said, "I will draw water for your camels also, till they all drink." And pouring out the pitcher into the troughs, she ran back to the well to draw water, and having drawn, she gave to all the camels. And he said to her, "Whose daughter are you? Tell me, is there any place in your father's house to lodge?" And she answered, "I'm the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, whom she bore to Nahor." And she said, moreover, to him, "We have a good store of both straw and hay, and a large place to lodge in." The man bowed himself down and adored the Lord, saying, "Blessed be the Lord God of my master Abraham, who has not taken away his mercy and truth from my master, and has brought me the straight way into the house of my master's brother." Then the maid ran and told in her mother's house all that she had heard. And Rebekah had a brother named Laban, who went out in haste to the man to the well. He came to the man who stood by the camels and near to the spring of water, and said to him, "Come in, blessed of the Lord. Why do you stand outside? I have prepared the house and a place for the camels." And he brought him into his lodging, and he unharnessed the camels, and gave straw and hay and water to wash his feet, and the feet of the men that were come with him. And bread was set before him. But he said, "I will not eat till I tell my message." He answered him, "Speak." And he said, "I am the servant of Abraham, and the Lord has blessed my master wonderfully, and he has become great. And he has given him sheep and oxen, silver and gold, men servants and women servants, camels and asses. And Sarah, my master's wife, has borne my master a son in his old age, and he has given him all that he had. And my master made me swear, saying, 'You shall not take a wife for my son of the Canaanites in whose land I dwell, but you shall go to my father's house, and shall take a wife of my own kindred for my son.' And Laban and Bethuel answered, 'The word has proceeded from the Lord. We cannot speak any other thing to you but his pleasure. Behold, Rebekah is before you. Take her and go your way, and let her be the wife of your master's son, as the Lord has spoken.' Which, when Abraham's servant heard, falling down to the ground, he adored the Lord. And bringing forth vessels of silver and gold and garments, he gave them to Rebekah for a present. He offered gifts also to her brothers and to her mother. And a banquet was made, and they ate and drank together and lodged there. And in the morning the servants arose and said, 'Let me depart, that I may go to my master.' So they sent her away, and her nurse, and Abraham's servant and his company, wishing prosperity to their sister, and saying, 'You are our sister. May you increase to thousands of thousands, and may your seed possess the gates of their enemies.' So Rebekah and her maids, being set upon camels, followed the man, who with speed returned to his master. At the same time Isaac was walking along the way to the well, which is called of the living and the seeing, for he dwelt in the south country. And he was gone out to meditate in the field, the day being now well spent. And when he had lifted up his eyes, he saw camels coming afar off. Rebekah also, when she saw Isaac, lighted off the camel, and said to the servant, 'Who is that man who comes towards us along the field?' And he said to her, 'That man is my master.' But she quickly took her cloak and covered herself. And the servant told Isaac all that he had done, who brought her into the tent of Sarah his mother, and took her to wife. And he loved her so much that it moderated the sorrow which was occasioned by his mother's death. And the days of Abraham's life were 175 years. And decaying, he died in a good old age, and having lived a long time, and being full of days, and was gathered to his people. And Isaac and Ishmael his sons buried him in the double cave, which was situated in the field of Ephron, son of Seor, the Hittite, over against Mamre, which he had bought of the children of Het. There was he buried, and Sarah his wife. And after his death God blessed Isaac his son, who dwelt by the well named of the living and seeing. These also are the generations of Isaac the son of Abraham. The story of Abraham and Isaac is one that is so chock full of symbolic details and little things that pop up later in the story, which incidentally is one of the benefits of hearing the story told rather than reading it, because it makes you more... And doing it at a quick pace, because it makes it easier to recognize those things when they jump out. Of course, so also does reading and rereading and meditating and all of that. But I could go on for a long time about all of it, and I'm looking for this to be less a study and more of just, let's get the story in, folks. And so, there we have it. Next time, we'll have the story of Jacob. God bless.